Hello dear students, welcome to Pen and Paper Chemistry. I hope you have your pen and your notebook with you so that we can proceed with the properties of alkynes part 2. In part 1 we have already covered the addition reactions, and what are we going to cover in part 2? Let's see. We are now going to talk about oxidation reactions of alkynes, and as you know, if you've been following the channel, I give you flow charts so that it is easier for you to remember. So we are going to cover oxidation and polymerization over here. What do you have to do? You have alkynes on the left hand side, and these are the reactions of alkyne. The alkyne that I am taking up in most of the reactions is RCH triple bond, RC triple bond CH. Why can't it be CH, RC triple bond CH? Yes, because the valency of carbon is 4. So 3 bonds here, 1 bond here. I cannot put an H over here. That would be wrong. Correct? So let's write the correct formula of the alkyne that we are going to follow. RC triple bond CH. So this is a terminal alkyne. Terminal means where the CH part is in the end. There is no other alkyl group attached to it, right? There's another alkyne which is called as the internal alkyne. So I have something like this. So this would be called as an internal alkyne, right? Now, I'm taking this because this covers a terminal alkyne as well, and we are going to talk about 4 types of oxidation reactions. First one is very simple, that I'm going to talk about combustion. Do we go ahead with this? Would you like to note down this? So let me expand it a bit for you so that you can make use of this flow chart. Correct. Go ahead. Oxidation reactions. Now the first one, if you see, it's cold dilute KMnO4, also called as Bayer's reagent. Yes, we have used it for the test of, correct, test for unsaturation of organic compounds. Yes, we have already spoken about it under alkenes. Yes, I am not forcing you to go to my video. What I want you to do is to understand alkenes and come back to alkynes then. So cold dilute KMnO4, Bayer's reagent, the color gets discharged, the pink color gets discharged. So what is the reaction over here? We are going to talk about that. Hot alkaline KMnO4 or acidified potassium dichromate is, again, this is oxidative cleavage. So there's going to be oxidation as well as breaking down, unlike the first reaction where there is only oxidation taking place, right? Ozonolysis, so addition of ozone followed by hydrolysis or by lysis, breaking down. And last, the favorite of ours, combustion. All hydrocarbons burn to give us carbon dioxide and water. The amount of heat generated is definitely less, and we use acetylene for welding purposes. The oxyacetylene flame that is used for welding purposes is based on the principle of combustion of acetylene. So let's start writing the reactions for these. So let's start writing the reaction, the oxidation reaction. I've got the alkyne over here, KMnO4 neutral cold dilute. So what will happen? The triple bonds will break, and double bond over here and double bond over here, as simple as that. Now what happens over here is this CHO bond. So you've got a ketone and an aldehyde, but this aldehyde can further undergo oxidation, right? So let's write down the reaction of acetylene with the neutral KMnO4. Very correct. So what do you have over here is just a double bond O and an H, single bond CH and a double bond O. So this is CHO single bond CHO, right? Are we right? 1, 2, 3, 4 bonds over here, and you have 1, 2, 3 and 4 bonds over here, and this gives us the product. You can name it in the IUPAC system 1 and 2, so ethane 1,2 diol, or it is also called as glyoxal. Now because it's an aldehyde, you know that it can undergo further oxidation, and we will, what if you carry out the oxidation with hydrogen peroxide, this will oxidize to give you formic acid, HCOOH, and water, right? It will break down under the conditions of the reaction. Now coming to strong oxidation, see, neutral KMnO4 is a weak oxidizing agent. So the first one that we spoke about, we meant to carry out oxidation under weak conditions. Now what we've got is, we've got oxidation under strong oxidizing agents. So strong means they will break the bond, right? So which we call as cleavage of the bond, and it will also oxidize it, right? So it is oxidative cleavage. That's why the word oxidative cleavage over here for oxidation with strong oxidizing agents. So what do we do now? Actually there is oxidation. So here bond breaks O and O, here this bond breaks O and O. So we will have, and finally because it's alkaline KMnO4, when you do the topic of KMnO4, you will realize that alkaline KMnO4 means that you will have water and nascent oxygen as the products over here. So if you understand the reaction of KMnO4 with an alkali, it gets converted into K2MnO4, water and nascent oxygen. So ultimately what is happening over here is, in this reaction it is H2O and nascent oxygen which is taking part. So oxygen and O, we'll have oxygen over here, right? Oxygen and oxygen, but there is water also. So what will happen? RCOOH plus HCOOH, right? Formic acid. But because of the strong conditions of the reaction, what will happen is this HCOOH will further get converted or oxidized into carbon dioxide and water. You also have to understand that because we are taking if we are taking an alkaline solution of KMnO4, then this carboxylic acid is actually obtained as RCOOK, right? You will study this later. When you do carboxylic acid, it gets converted into its potassium salt. Now that potassium salt we hydrolyze in the presence of an acid in order to convert it into RCOOH, right? So would you like to write the reaction with CH triple bond CH? Go ahead. So you have over here CH triple bond CH. Now the conditions are strong. So what will happen is OO, right? HCOOH, which will further get oxidized to give you carbon dioxide and water, right? Don't forget, we are carrying out oxidation under strong alkaline conditions, or if you are using potassium dichromate, then acidified potassium dichromate is used over here. Try writing the same reaction with CH3 C triple bond. What should I give you? Okay, CH, oxidation, strong conditions, alkaline KMnO4. Yes, again break it down. CH3COOH plus of course the terminal carbon, it will get oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. So this particular reaction, if you notice, it can help us to determine if there is a terminal, if it is a terminal alkyne or not, because you're getting carbon dioxide gas which will bubble out of the solution. Interesting, right? Coming to ozonolysis, what we have already done in alkenes, again I will keep repeating the same thing. So R, and what we'll do is double bond, and we've got a CH. No, it is not going to be a double bond. Let's see, because ozone gets added to it. So we'll have an O and O over here, hydrogen and O, right? Addition of ozone. So 1, 2, 3 and a 4 over here, correct? Followed by the treatment with, very good, so zinc and water. We are going to talk about only this. We're not talking about the dimethyl sulfide one. So we will break it here and put the HOH. So we'll have HOH. Break it down from here and we'll have H and OH, right? And the bond breaks from here as well. So what do we get over here? RCOOH. Now if you recall, in the case of alkenes, we'd got an aldehyde. Alkenes had given us aldehydes and ketones, or two aldehydes and or two ketones, aldehydes and or ketones, right? And that helped us to determine the position of the double bond in the case of alkenes, correct? That was the trick that I had told you, that remove the oxygen and just put double bond in between the two carbons, and we have our original alkene ready, correct? If you notice here, in this case, in the case of alkynes, the product is one higher state of oxidation. So we are getting RCOOH, and here again HCOOH, right? Again, it is possible to determine the position of the triple bond, but the product is different from those of the alkenes, although the mechanism remains the same. Interesting. So if you see the chart over here, we've got cold dilute KMnO4. You can do away with this step if you want, and we've got the product here. Then hot alkaline KMnO4 or acidified potassium dichromate, we get the corresponding acid. If this R dash, now what is this R dash is? If you have the original alkyne as this, that is how I have written the product. It could also be that instead of this R dash, you have an H over here, in which case the product will change to HCOOH. Ozonolysis, again we have formed the two products, and combustion we've already discussed that it is used for welding purposes, right? Coming to the polymerization reactions, and we are specifically talking about the polymerization reactions of acetylene or ethine. Linear polymerization, the details are not in this. We shall, if required, do it in the topic of polymerization. Here what will happen is polyacetylene. Again, it's an addition reaction, right? Basically, it's an addition reaction where addition is taking place across the triple bond, and triple bond changes into a double bond. This one is a linear polymer, and the interesting bit about it is, under special conditions, it is able to conduct electricity, right? And that is why it is used in as electrodes in batteries, because they are also very light. No, not the normal batteries that we are talking about. Yes, under specific conditions only. Another interesting reaction of ethine or acetylene is cyclic polymerization. In cyclic polymerization, it gives you benzene. How does it do that? Let's see. To show cyclic polymerization, I am going to write the reaction in a little interesting way. So CH, 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 and I've got CH, triple bond CH. These are 3 molecules of acetylene. And there we go. We play passing the parcel, and we have CH, double bond CH, and this gets a single bond now. Double bond CH, single bond CH, double bond CH, single bond, right? Or simply put, this is what we get, and this is called benzene, right? A very interesting way of converting an aliphatic compound to an aromatic compound, right? But how does this happen? Very good. Please don't forget the conditions of the reaction. So we pass the acetylene gas through a red hot iron tube at a temperature of around 500 degrees Celsius, or what you have written it as. Go ahead, see the chart. Now we are left to do something very, very interesting, and those are reactions which are specific to terminal alkynes, right? But I don't want to do it in this video. It gets too boring and tiring. So take a little break, drink a glass of H2O, and come back for part 3 of the properties of alkynes. Stay connected with Pen and Paper Chemistry.